Do you mind if I record it on my end, just so I have a copy of it myself?
Not at all. No, you can't. I don't know if you'll be able to.
It might ask it. I need your permission.
Yeah, sure. I will grant it if I get a message that shows me how to do
Okay,
it.
so what you do, because my photographer has to do this, hover over my picture or my box,
Right?
and then you'll see 3 dots.
Oh, wait, I'm looking at, I don't see the 3 dots, but I see, oh, allow record. I see allow record. I just clicked on that.
Okay, perfect. Let's see if that works.
Okay, good.
Yep, that works on my
Okay,
end.
good. So we're both recording it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Roger, is it okay if we record this?
No.
No?
I was waiting for you to ask me.
What's so different, even if like you record it, Chuck, but then like I always have to get permission from our end.
Yeah.
Because even, especially when you do phone interviews, it's always the first question, do I have your permission to record this? But for video, you think, well, you're consenting because you're doing this interview, but I always still have to ask, like, do I have your permission to record this?
Yeah.
Right. So I've done when we met at Taymana, I, in some cases, would use Facebook Live to let people view it. And there were a couple times where someone said, no, I don't want to be on Facebook Live. So there are, most people don't care, but every once in a while. And I know the one woman that said that, I noticed she moved out of Ocean Beach, and I sent out that email through MailChimp, and she asked to be removed from the list. So I don't think she's going to be on this call.
Okay. Because, and if they don't want to be recorded, then I can make sure that I can stop the recording if they talk, and I won't show like their picture up at the top when we have all the different videos at the top for other
Right.
people.
And also, you can tell people they can just click on stop video. Like I just click stop video. Now it just shows a static picture. So people can do that as well. And also to let you know, the format of the meeting is, the idea was, it looks like we have a couple people trying to come in. So let me let them in and then I'll explain it. So we've got 2 more coming in. And we'll let them connect. Hello, Marissa. I don't know if you can hear me, and Roshini. Hello, Marissa.
Oh, if her audio's not on, I don't know if she can hear us.
I think it takes a second.
Yeah.
Roshini? Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm Neha. Hi, guys.
Oh, you're Dr. Neha.
Yeah, the chiropractor.
Yes. Hello, how are you?
Yes.
It's nice to finally see you. Yes,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
Well, you look great, and your sound quality is great.
Okay.
So
Great.
you look good. And then Marissa, can you hear us? Can anyone hear Marissa?
No, I'm wondering if we can chat with her. Sometimes at the bottom of the screen, you have to go to like join audio and then video too.
So it looks like Nate Church is on and Dan Dennison. How you doing, Nate?
Doing good.
Oh, you made it. It sounded like you were going to have enough time.
Yeah, I may have to duck off, but I have a few minutes right now.
Okay, excellent. Well, welcome. And to let all of you guys know, this is being recorded, and Abby is on with CBS.
Hi.
Hi.
And
Chuck invited me. I live in OB, but I'm a news reporter for CBS 8, and I thought this would be kind of a cool way to show how people are still staying connected through all of this.
Very cool.
And I
so
see
if you guys are all okay that I record this, just let me know if you're not, and I can work around it.
Hi, Dan Dennison. I haven't seen you in a while. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. It may be connecting to your. Hey, Thalia. I see you all the time. How are you?
Great. Nice to see you.
You too. Dan, let's do a sound check. Dan Dennison, can you hear me? It looks like you're on mute.
You might be able to unmute him.
I did. I clicked unmute all, which should allow everyone to talk.
Yeah.
That's good.
Dan, are you there?
I am.
Okay. Hey, welcome, Dan. How are you?
I'm great. Yourself?
Good. It looks like Carter Moss, Pastor Carter Moss is coming in, and Cynthia, who I met, and then someone named User. I don't know who that is. We'll find out, I guess. Hey, Pastor Moss.
Anonymous.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks.
Hi, Cynthia. Nice to see you again. How are you? So we'll give everyone a couple minutes to connect. And good. It looks like we've got more than the Brady Bunch. We've got more than nine windows.
No Brady Bunch view. Too
Oh,
many.
good. We got Brighton coming in. He's up in Portland, Oregon, or he may be in Mexico. Hey, Brighton. I don't know if you can hear me. Are you in Mexico or are you in Portland?
Portland, Oregon.
Oh, welcome, and it's good to see you again. How are you?
Good, good. Good to see you too.
Good. Awesome. So let's see. For the people that are just joining, we have Abby on from CBS. And so this possibly maybe on the news tonight, Abby, or?
Yeah, we're going to try to put it on tonight.
That's awesome.
I know I kind of gave a little bit of the spiel, but I live in Ocean Beach, and I just thought that this would be a really cool way to show just how people are staying connected through all of this. And so we were going to try to share a story tonight for our 10 p.m. and 11 p.m.
Okay, fantastic. And
I'm the night owl of the group, probably.
Hey, Nicole Burrs is on. She was our guest speaker last week. Hey, Nicole, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. You look great. Sounds good. Hi, Julie. I see Julie just logged in.
Hey,
Hey, are you up in Washington State?
I am, yeah.
That's awesome. We got Washington State represented, Oregon State. I know Lenora is down in Mexico. She's going to be calling in. We've got some Obetians.
Nice.
So this is exciting. I like to see the good turnout. Let's see. So we'll give it a few more minutes. And just to let you guys know about the icebreaker question, so you have a second to think about it. And first of all, Roger Wire is going to be speaking, but before we turn it over to him, the icebreaker question is, tell us something positive that has happened to you after the pandemic started, something positive that's happened to you after the pandemic has started. And so it looks like we have a pretty good turnout. So we're probably going to have to limit your response to 45 seconds so that we have enough time for Roger. And I'm really excited about Roger's presentation. He gave me a preview, so I think you guys are really going to enjoy it as well. And then Roger, you said that you don't necessarily have to jump off the call right at 1 p.m. if people have questions and we want to continue. Is that right? So
Yep.
the call is scheduled to go until 1. If you have to leave early, we totally understand. Don't feel bad if you have to leave, but stick around as long as you want. I don't have anything on my calendar for the rest of the day, so we can go for quite some time. And it looks like we got a good group already. We got 14 people. And so we'll give it another minute. And then, so while we're doing that, Abby, why don't you remind everyone who you are and what's going on, just so that they know what's happening.
Excuse me, I'm Abby Alford. I know my thing says Abigail Black, that's my married name. But I work at CBS 8. I'm a news reporter there, just general assignment. And I just thought if we could try to I've been trying to focus on the positive stories. And I know that there's the seriousness of it and the numbers that are out there, but I also think trying to help balance that with the good that's going on in our community. And so Chuck had emailed me. I follow on the Facebook page, but he had emailed me, and I thought this is a great way to show just how people can still stay connected. I know in this world of Zoom now, but just the different avenues that people can still stay connected through Zoom and through networking, and just different advice of how we can all try to get through this and still manage to have somewhat of a normalcy if there is even one during this time.
Okay, fantastic. So it's 12:05. I think we should go ahead and get started. I'm gonna mute everyone's microphone and just I'm gonna allow, just to cut down on some of the extra noise. And you guys can still hear me, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the icebreaker, and then I will call on each one of you to answer it. If you could limit your response to 45 seconds, I would appreciate that. And if you kind of keep going too long, I'm gonna jump in to try to keep things moving. And again, today's icebreaker is, tell us something positive that has happened to you after the onset of the coronavirus pandemic. Tell us something positive that has happened to you after the onset of the pandemic. So having said that, do I have any volunteers to go first? All right, so Brighton, let me unmute you and go for it.
Great. So I'm assuming we're also doing an introduction. So my name is Brighton West, and I am a virtual videographer. So I do this thing all day long. But what I'm super excited about is, as Chuck said, I am up here in Portland, Oregon, but I usually live 2 months of the year in San Diego in OB. So I think one of the positive things is that the OB networking group is now accessible from anywhere in the world, along with many other groups that are like this. I celebrated someone's birthday, an old friend from Atlanta, and there were probably 50 people on the call spread out all around the world being able to celebrate his birthday. That never would have happened if it hadn't been for the coronavirus.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Do I have any other volunteers that would like to talk for 45 seconds? So I see Nate Church. Let me unmute you. So Nate, welcome.
Hey, Chuck, thanks. Nate Church. I run On Track Wellness, Martial Arts, and Fitness. So kind of two positive things. One, I've not had to get up at 4:30 every morning to do my 5:30 a.m. class. That's been kind of nice to sleep in just a little bit, which is needed. But the biggest one is through my networking group, having Chuck help me completely rebuild my website, which had desperately needed overhauled and redesigned, which I've just never had the time to dive into with our busy schedule. So that's been the big one. Some other stuff here and there. Being the only one in my gym, I get to focus on my lifting. So I've gotten stronger actually during this break. So I get to focus on just me a bit.
Awesome. Thank you for the plug, by the way, as well. And so could I let me call on Nicole Roers. Could you go next?
Cool. Hi. My name is Nicole Brewers. I am a nutritionist and herbalist here in OB. I've been working virtually, so I do one-on-one coaching. But what's been good is that this whole thing has kind of catapulted me doing my online course and my online offerings, and even a webinar, a free masterclass that I've been wanting to put together for a while. I'm doing it this Thursday. So this has kind of catapulted me to do all the things because, one, I have a lot more time at home and no social distractions. And two, it just seems like a really good time to really focus on the online stuff, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are.
Awesome. Well done. And thank you so much for speaking last week as well. Julie, could I call on you to share with us?
Hey there. My name is Julie, and I used to live in OB. I just recently moved to the middle of Washington State to this little tiny farm. Well, it's not really tiny, but you know, in comparison to most farms here, it's tiny. And I think that my positive stuff started happening before any of this was even happening, because it brought me out here and then it brought me online. And so now I feel like I was two steps ahead of everything that now I'm having to do online, because I tutor is my main source of income, and I had to like take some of my kids from San Diego, put them online, and now I'm like, got it. So the ones that are calling me now, I'm in it. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And I have all this stuff ready to tell the parents. And yeah, so I feel like all of that. And I feel like I'm having these deeper connections with people that I just was surfacely like, hey, you know, acquaintances or even really good friends. I feel like I know them a lot more now because we're being more intimate online.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're so glad you're here. And so Thalia, would you like to go next?
Hi, I'm Thalia Dreesen, and I do web design. I'm also a creative director, so I do branding and that type of work. And I specialize in working with nonprofits, and it's been interesting time period right now for nonprofits. Actually, there are a lot of people interested in supporting a lot of great causes right now. So I'm doing whatever I can to be a part of that. And professionally, a positive thing that's come out of this is that I've reached out to some former contacts that I had, and I'm doing some pro bono work, and it's been great. It's been just great to reconnect. And I'm bi-coastal, so I'm part of the year in New York and part of the year in Ocean Beach. And obviously, because of this, I'm here in Ocean Beach for a while, and which is great. But I'm also able to keep connected with my East Coast friends and colleagues. And then lastly, personally, positive thing that's come out of this is I've lost weight. I've gotten my exercise routine really solid now. I exercise every day, and I've been cooking more at home. So,
Okay.
Awesome. So Marissa Elliott, would you like to share with us? No one has to share. If you want to pass, you can, but we would love to hear from you if you'd like to share.
Sure, no problem. So I'm a local tutor in OB. I just recently, well, I've been tutoring for the past 6 years, but I've just recently been trying to get my business online, have a website, Facebook, and everything like that, and devote more time to it because I used to work in private industry. So that's what I've been doing mainly. In addition, I do consulting work for EEG applications, and luckily this group introduced me to a person who was able to give me a part-time employment through all of this. So doing CAD renderings and such. And yeah, Chuck's been awesome in helping me with my website as well. And something positive that's come out of this is it's really allowed me to put more time towards building my online site and looking into kind of finding work in a non-traditional sense that I enjoy more than a typical 9-to-5. So I've really felt myself being more rewarded by the work that I've been doing. And I look forward to continuing. And I've had so much time to work on my garden, so that's great too.
Awesome. So Abby, I'd like to call on you because not everyone knows who you are or what's going on here. And I think what I'll do is if anyone else tries to come into the room, well, there's one more, I'm going to let Matt in. And then after that, they're 15 minutes late. I'm not going to let them in because I don't want to have to explain what's going on over and over. But can you again tell us who you're with and what's going on today?
Yeah, again, I'm Abby Alford. I'm a news reporter for CBS 8 here in San Diego. I also live in Ocean Beach, and I have followed on the OB networking page, but I've actually never gone to one of the meetings. So this is, a positive to say these are things that I wanted to do. I work evenings. So one of the positives is that my husband, we have opposite schedules, so we only really see each other on the weekends. So he's now working from home. He usually has this area during the day, so I asked if I could have it in case he had any calls. But I get to see him more often, and obviously we knew that there'd probably be challenges in the beginning, but we've kind of worked through it. I know his boundaries, and I, like to do my things, but it's been really nice to be able to connect with him and also get to know what he does more at work. And then professionally, obviously, through this pandemic, this has changed the way that we've told stories, and I think it's really pushed us in a way that we never thought was possible. I mean, who would have thought 5 weeks ago that we would be doing Zoom interviews and everything pretty much online and not doing anything in person? And you would think it'd be impossible to tell these stories, but I think we've been able to try to adapt and continue to tell the positive that's going on in our community. Last night I did the story about how in downtown people are cheering and clapping, and it gets really, really loud at 8 p.m. For healthcare workers. So I thought that was really cool. In my own productive mind, I've cleaned out more closets than I ever thought I could. I have more list of things that I want to clean up. And so now I'm getting all antsy thinking, am I going to have enough time to do all this? What if this is over and I have to go back to real life? But it's just been really nice to reconnect with college friends that last I saw at my wedding was a year and a half ago, with my family in Northern California. You know, when you have 20 people on a Zoom call, and now we wear costumes just to see who can one up everybody. I think it's as tough as this experience has been, it's been pretty amazing.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. And now I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this correctly. Is it Dr. Roshani? Shani?
It's actually Dr. Neha. I'm using my friend's computer. So
okay.
But I'm Dr. Neha.
Yeah, would you like to share?
Yeah, I'm actually a brand new chiropractor in Ocean Beach, and I just opened my office. So professionally, this actually gave me time to get my website together, just get everything business-wise kind of going, which is kind of nice. And I guess personally, it's been nice because I've actually talked to my friends from around the world that I hadn't been even talking to when this wasn't going on. So we use this app, it's called House Party, and we sometimes meet for cocktails like at 5 and just do happy hour, and I'm just connecting with people around the world. So it's been good.
Awesome. Welcome. So for those that arrived late, the icebreaker question today is, tell us something positive that happened to you after the coronavirus pandemic started. And I don't think we've heard from Dan Dennison. So I'm going to unmute you, Dan. Would you like to share with us?
Sure. Hey, Chuck, this is a great idea.
Thank you.
I think a couple things. First of all, I've had communications with people that I haven't talked to for a while. That's been great. And another thing is we went to get some bandanas, and then we saw someone that had a nice mask on, and here's a mask, and she gave me the name of a lady that'll make these masks for you without charge. So I got this really cool mask, and it's like a English phone book or phone booth. Anyway, that's been nice. And so it's a very interesting time for reflection and uncertainty, but it's really great keeping in touch with people. And by the way, I'm an active realtor.
Awesome. We're glad you're here. And I want to thank Pastor Carter Moss, who helped me brainstorm some things to do and kind of set this group in the right direction. Would you like to share with us, Pastor Moss?
Yep.
Oops, I think I muted you. There you go. Sorry.
Cool. Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, Carter Moss, lived in OB last 6 years, pastor New Break Church right on Cape May and Ebers there. And yeah, I'd say one thing this pandemic, man, it just pushes us to have to be more creative, more innovative. I like to think I am anyway, but not always. So this has pushed that a lot. I know since I can't do what I do on Sundays in terms of trying to communicate with people. I've been doing like nightly videos on Facebook Live, just talking about life and faith and navigating all this, trying to give encouragement. So I've never done a ton on video, but that's been good. It's pushing me to do that. The other thing is we're always trying to serve and find ways to just help people and bless people in OB. And so many of the ideas I have, we can't do right now, but it's forced to be more creative in other ways. So it's just been cool to watch. And I'm sure you guys have seen just people's creativity and generosity. We do things like, we went and bought coffee from OB Bean so we could support local, but then like deliver it to the local fire station. So hopefully you bless 2 different groups of people. Like for Easter weekend, we're putting out just packets of like crafts for kids to do that people can just pick up from outside our church, just out of a bin, and give them something for their kids to do. So just trying to come up with ideas, ways to still serve people.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here today. And Cynthia, I don't think you've had a chance to chat. Would you like to share with us?
I would love to, Chuck. This has been a really godsend for me. I do 3 things. I work in a web design company called iUniversal. I do design work and I write. And I met Chuck through one of my networking groups, and this has been a phenomenal time for networking. So I finished my rough manuscript on a book. I cleaned my space here so that I could be on Zoom calls. And because of being distanced, a group of different people have all come together. Coronado Scribes is a writing group that I was working with. And most of them are elderly, and they were getting to the point that they couldn't come to the library. Now we're on Zoom calls. There's a lot of unemployed people in the entertainment industry. So if you're on Facebook, there's a group called the Quarantine Network. There's live programming all day long. The guy that started is from East Coast like me. So there's East Coast, West Coast people. It's really cool. Local chefs have the Quarantine Kitchen, which is, you know, like a lot of people that own restaurants here, and we all share recipes. And then there's a friend who's an entertainer and had an optician's shop in Nashville. Recently had her whole store decimated because of the tornado. Can't perform because of music, but she has a group, and a lot of people in the music industry are there. It's called the Virus Social Distance Group. So if I'm not writing or working on website stuff, I'm in all those groups. So it's been a real godsend to connect to so many people. Thank you.
Awesome. We're glad you're here. Now I see Cece Summerfield has her hand up, and forgive me, I'm still getting better with Zoom. Cece, how are you? It's nice to see you.
I'm doing well, Chuck. How are you?
Good.
I'm actually multitasking. I'm doing dishes at the same time I'm at the networking groups. This is great. That's positive for sure. So I guess, yeah, positive for me. I think Carter took the words right out of my mouth, is finding ways to be more creative about how I'm helping the community and how I'm running my business. And I'm also a local realtor like Dan. And yeah, I was already doing a lot of video, but now it's really forced me to really get into that more and figure out how to connect with people online. So this is good.
Awesome. By the way, Cece is one of the co-founders of the group. I couldn't have gotten it rolling without you. So thanks again for everything you've done for the OBNG. And then, so next I'm going to call on Lucas. If you'd like to share, Lucas Smarty, go for it.
Yeah, definitely. So I do screen printing and embroidery from Scripps Ranch. Two nice things have come out of this, but been able to spend a little bit more time with my kids, kind of get a little bit more involved in what they're doing, especially their schoolwork. Because I think a lot of us go, did you do your homework? Okay, cool, check the box. But kind of get involved with them and really see what they're working on and spend a little bit more time with them. Number two is, we've just been trying to stay afloat and keep other local businesses, supported as well. And we've been waiving screen fees on all our t-shirt setups. Which isn't a ton. It's like, $20 to $50. But at the same time, we've made a couple more clients because, everyone's trying to save a penny in this, what's going on and the uncertainty. But they still need uniforms and t-shirts. So we've waived that fee for them. So, we're not really making any money right now, but it's kind of a short-term pain, long-term gain. And hopefully we can make a couple good connections and clients for the long run. But otherwise, biggest thing is my kids, which is nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And hi, Lenora. Let me unmute you. And how are you doing today? It's nice to see you.
Nice to see Sophie, and I'm super happy to be. I'm Lenora Now. I'm your local realtor and marketing professional. Some great things that have been coming out of this. I want to agree with Lucas on spending more time with my child. I actually am in Mexico right now. We got to travel to Sayulita before they closed the borders, and we've been enjoying, I'm kind of scared to say, but like open beaches until just 2 days ago. So awesome things that have come out of this is gangster tan, excellent Spanish, good surf, and my little girl's learning Spanish. And she's also getting acquainted with the ocean in a way that she really never has before because it's been small and mellow. And for me as a surfer, Cece, I know you can understand this, is that being able to get closer to the vision of surfing with my child is like vision board kind of enjoyment. So that's been really beautiful. Of course, honestly, I've just been really mucho tranquilo. I think being here and just a lot of the work that I've actually been doing with the speaker that we have today has just put me in a place where I have not felt victim or susceptible to a lot of the panic or hysteria that may have come along with today's current climate. And so, I'm just kind of chilling, seeing what happens, and definitely super grateful for things like savings that doing real estate has afforded me to sit through this time in that kind of state of peace. And, but right now, from a business perspective, I think I'm focusing on doing small business support and marketing because I know a lot of people aren't able to do maybe bigger budget stuff that they were, but want to keep their businesses afloat. So anybody needs help with one-off stuff, graphic design, website tweaks, press releases, video marketing or editing, things like that, I'm here and happy to help. And, you know, if your budget is limited, let me know. I've got lots of skills and lots of time and the internet. So that's what's going on with me. Nice to see you all.
Thank you so much, Lenora. So Anna, would you like to share with us?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Solar Girl Anna. So I'm a solar broker. I've been doing it for 5 years and I love it. I help people save money, zero cost up front. Some good things that have been coming out of this is definitely learning how to transition to online. I've been knocking doors for 5 years in San Diego, so it's been different to transition to try to, you know, work to have a website and Instagram and all that stuff. So that's been really good. And then I've been doing a lot of walks in my neighborhood. So I'm seeing a lot of beautiful homes that I've never seen before and just appreciating the beauty of OB. And then just spending more time with my boyfriend and learning more about him. Our relationship has gotten really strong actually during this time. So yeah, thank you for having me. This is awesome. So I'm super stoked to be here.
Awesome, welcome. And so Matt, how are you? And would you like to share anything with the group today?
You know, I'm doing well. This quarantine's not a lot different than my regular life before, which maybe isn't something to be proud of. I'm a realtor too, so I think we've reached the quorum where a third of the people here are realtors, so it's like a typical networking group. I work with investors a lot. I've been crunching the numbers, just looking. The game's going to flip pretty soon here, and it might favor people that are looking for deals, and that's kind of where I operate. So that'll be nice. I do analysis too, looking at numbers, big numbers, spotting trends, that sort of thing. And the good thing has come, I've been into music production. I've got a DJ, so I'm learning how to spin around. I'll come online and do it, but I'm very intimidated. A lot of DJs out of work too, and they're showing their stuff online. So I might just keep it to myself for a little while here. Thank you.
Awesome, it's good to see you. And so Ellen, would you like to share with the group?
Sure.
Okay, go.
Hi, thank you, Chuck. I'm Ellen Burrell with Heal Consulting. So my background is in healthcare for the homeless, and I do a lot of trauma-informed care, training, some project management and whatnot. So this has been really different for me because I'm on the outside. I don't have to wade through it this time. Of course, they've never had anything like this before. So for me, I've really been able to take a step back personally and get to, you know, really connect more with some friends at a deeper level, become more vulnerable, and really starting to look inward, because the groundhog Danish of it is, you know, pretty much the same for the project I've been working on for the last 3 months. But then not having the distraction of being able to go outside and to connect with people. I really enjoy coming to the network group because it is a time to connect with human beings. And then also learning how to filter the onslaught of everything coming in from the capability of having the online world. So it's been different, and looking forward to see how I grow, how the collective come out of this at the end, all for the better.
Awesome, thank you for joining us. Now, Kathleen, listen, I don't know if you're there because I just see your name. Would you like to share with us if you're there?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, my name's Kathleen Listen, and you can't see me because I haven't had a haircut in a month.
None of us have.
No, I'm a certified lymphedema therapist and board certified massage therapist. I have a practice in Pacific Beach. I help people with lymphedema, which is a side effect of cancer treatment, and also plastic surgery like liposuction, Brazilian butt lifts, and tummy tucks. So we stopped practice completely, all massage therapists in the state of California, because They really sent us some very nasty emails that we would lose our certification. They would yank our licenses. So we're completely out of business, but still paying, you know, the rent and everything else that comes with dealing with my business. But the good thing is I've always been, it's like our parents teach us these things that we never think would happen, like have 3 months of money in an account that you can use in case of an emergency. And this is an emergency unlike we've ever seen before. So I'm really, really grateful to my father and my husband that we have, my business is set up so I can survive this until we come out the other end. And the interesting thing that's been happening with me is I've put out online classes. So massage therapists as a career, we need to have continuing education like a lot of healthcare people do. And I started that last December to start putting these online classes out. And I'm actually earning a fair amount of money from that. So I'm really excited that more of sections of my business are indeed online. And it's really doing well for me so far.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. And so Nick Wallace, I haven't seen you in a while. It's nice to see you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Good to see you, Chuck, and everybody else. Thanks for inviting me to the Zoom call. I appreciate it.
Cool. And so David Almada, I don't know if you're there. I see your static photo. How are you, if you can hear me?
Doing good, thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
If you guys can see a little picture of me, I got a sticky over the camera. I'm an old fogey. I use a little sticky over the camera picture. Haven't seen the group in a long time. I usually had to do a pet therapy for veterans in Chula Vista, so I could never make the meeting because we'd always end up in Chula Vista on the time that you had your meeting. But now that's been closed, so I have lots of time to video conference and do all kinds of stuff like that. It's nice. Is everybody in Ocean Beach right now?
No, we have people from Mexico, Oregon, Washington State, probably some other places I'm not aware of. But it's so good to see, David. I'm, in the interest of time, I'm going to mute all the microphones, and I want to go ahead and turn over the balance of the time to Roger. It is 12:33, and Roger, if you want to make, I'm not sure how much you guys know about Zoom, but you can make him, you can pin his video to make him bigger. I don't know what view you're in, but I just did that. And so I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to Roger, and then we will just see how it goes. I'm excited to hear what you have to say, Roger, so take it away.
Unmute me. Now can you hear me? Okay. My name is Roger Wire, and I'm an intuitive guide and shaman, and I help people deal with change. The most positive thing that's happened to me, and there have been many, happened to me this morning when I figured out my life purpose. It's a little thing that's been bugging me for about 50 years, and I finally got it. I don't think we're going backwards to the world before this thing we're going through right now. I think we're going forward. I think it's a time of extraordinary change. And I think that the universe has been guiding me to prepare for this moment my entire life. Up until now, I've been dancing around with trying to market the various skills that I've developed to try to help people with change, because most people don't want to talk about change. They don't have time for change. It's like, don't. So I realized this morning that change is no longer an option for us. This is mandatory. And so I'm feeling like I'm in the right place at the right time for like the first time in my life. So So about, I don't know, 2 months ago, when I signed up to do this, I had no idea when I got this date that this is what's going to show up. And I've been working with Lenora to figure out who I am and what's my brand and what's my message and all that kind of stuff, and making nice progress with her help. And so I thought I was going to be here to promote myself and tell you about what I do and some stories and, you know, maybe some exercises. And about a week ago, I decided I don't like that very much. And I turned my attention to the question, what tools can I bring to you to help you cope with this time? And so I developed a presentation around all of that. And I was pretty excited about doing it. And then yesterday, Chuck and I had a practice Zoom call to get on the same page with how things were going. And I really got a sense of Chuck's idea about making this be a bigger thing, about bringing older people back who've been here before, people from around the country, around the world, whatever. And I really felt like I wanted to support that. And this morning, while I was listening to the governor of New York make his presentation, his daily presentation about the situation there, he said that this is no longer about me, this is about we. That things that I do affect you and affect the next person and the next person, and things that you do affect me and my family. And so we can't play the game anymore as me. We have to play it as we. And what he said was, we used to talk about we a lot, about unity and togetherness and all this kind of stuff. Now we have to. Now we have to do it. We're living that. So, so I want to pay attention today with the rest of the time to some ideas about what we can do to develop this group together for our use. And I want to say that I've been ditching around with networking groups for a long time. And I think probably the reason you're here is the reason I'm here, and that is most of them, they just don't work. It's just not it. And I so appreciate Chuck and the other founders and what they've established here and how they're hanging with it now through the changes. So I did create a group a while ago that was really beautiful. It was very different and unique. And I haven't been able to replicate that. But I want to go for it again. I want to see if I can be involved in bringing something special to us. Partly, you know, for myself, partly for Chuck and the founders here, but partly because this group has worked very well for me. I've met some terrific people out of this group and gotten some nice work out of it. So what I want to do today is a little different than what we usually do. And I think we can already tell from spending 30 minutes going around the room that probably that's not going to be a good format for us in the future, but it's fine for today. When I had this special group before, we took turns facilitating the group, and we would bring a hard personal question. We'd go around and we would share around about that over continental breakfast. And it was, people were vulnerable and opened up, and it was terrific. But whenever the facilitator didn't have a question or they couldn't figure out what to do, our feedback was a single question. It's not quite a question, and that is, fill in the blank, what I need today is. And it's a really interesting question. It's not what I want today, it's what I need today, and in particular, what I need today to move my life and my business forward. What is the thing which, if I had it right now, which I had it today, would move everything forward? So I want to play this a little bit. And I'm going to give you, in just a second, I've got some more instructions. I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes to think about what I need today is, and I'm going to write it in the chat over on the right-hand side. But a couple of lines about this. One is, don't necessarily go with what comes first to you. Because if it's something like, I need more customers or I need more money or whatever, look a little deeper. look in your heart and find out what is really the leverage. What do I really need today? And write that. And the other thing is no problem solving today. Absolutely no problem solving allowed. We are great problem solvers. We got resources, we got ideas of what if, you know, whatever. And there's a place for that, but it's not going to be right now. When we get done with this, we're going to have a list on the chat side of what everybody's real need is. And because Chuck is recording this whole business, we're going to be able to go back and see that. And when we go back and look at this in the future, a couple days, next week, whatever, we're going to get at least two things out of it. One is we're going to see what's the pattern. I mean, we're all kind of like-minded people, whatever. We're in helping each other. But we're going to see a pattern about what's real and what's true for us. And there may be some ideas in there for each of us about services we can provide to help out with that. The second thing is that instead of just lobbing out a solution or a resource, when we look at the list again, we're going to have an opportunity to go back and connect with somebody one-to-one and have the conversation about their need. And this is really a great opportunity for us to expand our network in a meaningful way. So what I'd like to do now is take 2 minutes and get quiet and you know, a couple of deep breaths and look inside and ask yourself, what do I need today that's really going to make the difference? And write it in the chat. Ready, go. Okay, thank you for doing that. Thank you for playing along with me. Next thing is to spend 2 minutes scrolling back up the screen and reading the chats. And I got to warn you in advance, it's a little teary experience for me. So take 2 minutes to read what you just wrote to each other. Okay, so I'm going to say a few words and then turn it back to Chuck. What I needed today was deeper connection, and you just gave it to me. Thank you. And the other thing I saw in here that I need is hugs. So, and I kind of feel that too. So before I turn it back to Chuck, let me tell you that if you would like to get in touch with me, I'm going to put my email down here and talk about any of this. That'd be terrific. I did write up the tools that I talked about before that I was going to present today. And so if you send me an email, I'll email you back the tools so you've got those. And then I'd like to spend the rest of the time sharing with each other about what we learned from this exercise and what kind of patterns we see here and what kind of actions that plan to take in the next week about this. So thank you very much for this opportunity, Chuck, and for all of you, and thank you for your beautiful writing. So I'm going to mute myself.
Well, thank you, Roger. That was awesome. Short and sweet, but so powerful. Thank you. That was really, really good. And so I'd just like to share, I think Zoom is a fantastic platform. I was a little bit nervous about how this was going to work with, it looks like 22 people, but it seems there's no Zoom bombing. Everyone, I can hear everyone. It just seems very effective. So I thank all of you for showing up. And if I'm going to unmute everyone, and let's just see how it goes. If someone wants to jump in and share, that would be awesome.
I'll go ahead and throw it out there. Anyone struggling to get workouts in, everything we're doing is free. We're not charging any for our, if you've never been part of our program but want to start in on a program, it's free to do our online classes, put your stuff on social media at no charge to any new people. So if you want to get up at 7 a.m. and get motivated to work out, contact me, Nate Church, on Track Wellness, and you'll get on our email list and let you know how to start working out. And we record them and post them in various places as well, so you can always do it later. If you're a night owl, how about you?
Hey, thank you.
Can you post your your website?
Yes, I can put it in the chat right now.
Okay, cool.
Also, new website done by dancingpandamarketing.com. They did my website for me, Chuck.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I am still doing consultations on Zoom for people that want to save money. I know we're all using more power. So if you own a home and you guys are looking to save money, most of my customers save 40%. They don't have to pay solar. There's zero cost up front. You just have to qualify with a space on the property. We can make the power and then own the home, have around a 650 credit score, and use about $60 or more of electricity. So I'd love to help you. I'll put my website in the chat box here. If you guys know of anyone, right now we're offering $1,000 to go solar and only pay $1 a month for the next 6 months. And then if you guys have any friends that are interested, I'll give you $500 for referring them.
I would like to offer, I have all kinds of networking groups available, whether it's for website stuff, music stuff, food, you're feeling alone, spiritual groups online. I just seem to have a plethora of them. I'll leave my email if you're looking for other people in your field to network with. I can give you a few suggestions.
Roger, just wanted to say thanks. That's good questions. It's cool to think about the difference between what do I want most, what do I need most.
Yeah.
I think those are good to ask each day.
Yep.
I try to think about this one too, real similar. What's most life-giving to me? And that takes some work right now because everything that used to be life-giving to me, playing beach volleyball, going to the movies, drinks with friends, I can't do any of the stuff that was life-giving. So I'm having to find new life-giving stuff. Maybe it's playing Nerf basketball with my kids, or even watching good movies. For some people it's cooking or whatever. But anyway, I just wanted to add that question in there too, of kind of, because it's restful to me to just zone out to the TV, and I need sometimes just that, but that's not life-giving. That's more just rest and just zone out, right? But that's different. Anyway, just throwing that in too.
With those kind of questions, two things. I like to look at those things that brought me, and I will say it's joy, and look under the covers and see what's the pattern of those things that's all the same, so that the joy kind of shows up, or the life force shows up in a way that I can then take it and move it to something else. So I think there's a thread that runs through all of those activities that's more of a heart-based thing. And the second thing is that in my life, I would like to make every activity life-giving. How do I do that?
Good.
Well, Carter, I would say I've been running some virtual happy hours with my friends, and shame on me for not inviting you. So the next time I run one, I'm gonna get you on a Zoom call, and we can pop a beer together. It's not the same as being, at Helms or whatever it's called, Two Roots or Culture, but it's actually not bad to be able to clink a beer with someone on the screen. It's better than, so I would love to do that in the future.
Yeah, thanks.
I've been told not to look too far ahead or else you kind of get overwhelmed. But this question that I had about 2 weeks into this, I was wondering, what's life going to be like after this? Of course, I think we're going to be changed, but are we still just going to go out to the bars and have a drink with our friends? Are we going to be going to dinner? Are we just going to go back into what the life is? And I just keep wrestling with, what will life be like after this? And I don't know if anyone has the answer, but I think in a lot of the things that what we listed today is that if we continue to remind ourselves on what we want and what we need and what life can give us every day, then maybe we can continue that when the doors open back up and we can go back to our routines. But who knows what that routine will be? And I talk in tangents, but it's all this stuff that goes on in my head, and I'm like, what do we do? What can we do?
Well, I want to say two things to that too, since it's my day. What I thought a long time ago when I was going to school was that the world around me looked kind of crazy. I couldn't believe how people operate, how systems and institutions operate. And I kept thinking, this can't last. Chuck and I were talking, he used the word sustainable. I used to have this image of a house of cards, and any kind of a breeze would knock this crazy thing down. And I've waited my whole life, and it's still standing until today. And now the big breeze comes. And so what I see, and I've studied future, so I'm going to just throw it out there, two things. I think everything will change. Every institution, every way we do everything. You look at education, homeschooling's now a thing. I mean, it's real. And if you look at every aspect of our life and every institution, it's changing. And so I want to be engaged in co-creating what comes next. And the second thing is that right now, it's a big time of uncertainty. I think that is the word right now to describe where we're all at. So we have to learn how to swim in uncertainty and in trouble as we co-create this next thing, which we don't know what it is.
I love that analogy, or if analogies are weird, but of the swimming in uncertainty. It's almost like you need to float, Yeah. 5 months ago, all I knew was that I had to find a new place to live because my landlord was finally going to fix my house, which needed to be done probably more than 10 years ago before I even moved in. So all I knew was, oh gosh, it's time to find a new place to live. Change is happening. So I literally just had to be I trust, everything's gonna be fine. I don't know where, and I kept saying that, I don't know where, I don't know when I'm moving, but it's gonna be fine. And then all of these things started coming to me and presenting opportunities of places to live and stuff presenting to me. And then I have a friend who lives close by here in Washington, I haven't talked to her in probably 3 years. I mean, besides social media stuff, but she called me and was like, what's going on? Why are you moving? And, long story short, sent me a link to this website for this farm where I'm currently living now rent free. It's part of my pay for my job that I literally cannot do because my job is to connect with the community and create community events and bring people to this farm and to connect with the education system and do field trips and all of I can't do any of that, but I still get to be here and live rent free and then also do what I've always done in my tutoring business, but in such a different way that I never would have expected. I never would have gone online if I was still living in San Diego until it was like the crunch time like now. So all of this, like this trust is just, and I just feel like I constantly have to remind myself.
I just wanted to say a comment, and you kind of skipped over it, but I'm really touched by and impressed by the degree of like soft skills or soft side of what everybody's saying they're needing to move forward in their professional environment. That was really impressing on me as far as trends that we're all seeing here. And I think that that's probably not that different in regular times. Maybe it's more to the surface now, but I feel like when we're looking to what we need to really move forward personally and professionally, it is some of these softer things, the support, the internal strength, the motivation, the hugs that really will push us all to the next level. So I would like to just challenge everybody to think how you can channel those soft skills outward, like from this digital space, because it seems that's what we're limited to now. But yeah, definitely kudos to the quick adapting from the OB networking group. But I'm so happy to see you guys. Go ahead, whoever's next. I'm done.
Okay. I kind of wanted to bolt on to what you're saying, Lenora. I just think it's cool looking at that exercise that, 90 to 95% of those answers are not physical. Those aren't things that we said we need. No one said money, even though that's what they need, because everyone knows that everything they do is just impacted by how they do it. It's all emotional stuff. I think anyone who runs a business knows that, like, oh God, sitting there and just thinking about doing nothing is the worst thing that you could do. But sometimes it's so hard to get out of that hole of just like, oh God, what do? I'm not doing anything. I'm not bringing any money. Or, hey, I'm doing so great, I'm going to take a little break. But everyone knows that it's inside them, and it's really just kind of evaluating themselves every single day and realizing what's important and having the strength to go out there and do it, because everyone, I think, knows what they need to do. I think a lot of people aren't really completely lost on like, okay, how do I move forward? It's more of just making that action and having those emotional strengths that we're talking about. And I think that's why this group is so cool, because everyone can kind of bounce ideas and really kind of look at the way they're feeling, but just remind yourself that it's always in you. It's not physical things you have, it's the actions that you take to get those physical things.
You're muted, Chuck.
I know, sorry. I'm still getting familiar with Zoom. I'm looking at the clock and it's 12:59, so we've been on for almost exactly an hour. I think this has been a really good call, and all of y'all feel free just to continue. I'm not going to close the room down. If anyone has to go, we totally understand. We did, I did present this meeting as ending at 1 p.m. So thank you all for attending, but feel free to continue sharing. I'm going to mute my microphone, and if you have to go, you have to go. We understand.
Thanks for the topic, Roger.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
And thank you for allowing me to be in here, you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm like doing this for a story, like professionally, but I think, personally, I gained a lot in just like an hour. So thank you so much.
Come back next time.
I surely will. I love it.
I'm so glad, Abby. That's great. I'm so glad you made it today. Thank you for
Thanks for coming.
It was great to see you and to get to chat with you a little bit.
Who knew it was the Zoom that took me to connect with my neighbors,
right.
you know?
Now we'll see you around town. Say hi.
Yes.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
All right,
You too.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, everybody. Chuck, let's have a call maybe later this week, okay?
Okay, who's speaking?
Cynthia.
Oh, sorry, Cynthia. That sounds good. I'll put you on my calendar and I'll give you a call.
All right, perfect. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thanks for
Have a
coming
great
out,
day.
Cynthia.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Chuck, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. This was so awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
So when you had started, I know we had talked last week, so you had started the OB networking group 6 years ago, you said?
Yes.
6 years ago. And it just keeps growing. I mean, we had 22 people on today's call.
Yeah, the number of people attending has gone up and down. And, you know, a lot of people that move to OB, they move away. And so this was a good opportunity to bring some people back in that have moved, like Julie and Brighton and Lenore's down in Mexico. But yeah, the numbers have gone up and down, but the meetings over the last 6 years, they've varied in attendance anywhere from 10 to as many as 35. But I like this size. If it gets any bigger than that, it's almost too much.
Right. It's kind of nice to have like at least like the smaller group and with this, and obviously the conversation probably has changed because we are, you know, we are in the coronavirus. Before it maybe also looking at ways that we can still try to balance and network professionally, but it seems like a lot, especially what we learned today, is that it can really, you know, the softer skills is like what Lenora had said. Maybe that's what we needed in our networking groups, you know?
Oh, I know.
Or maybe that's what we've been doing. We just didn't see it.
Very well said. I know I really appreciate these Zoom calls for the personal connection, whether it's through this or through a virtual happy hour. We have also a Zoom call with my family, and I'd like to see my friends and family. And this is a great way to continue the group on. So for me, it's, you know, it's a tough time for me.
And for, you know, a lot of people, even, you know, at least for a lot of us that have been on the call, just trying to adapt in our new environment. Obviously, there's the economic challenges of how do you still continue to run your business, but it looks like, you know, and it's nice that we can kind of network in different ways to show what we're doing and what we're offering. But then with that, you know, the underlying, I think, I don't know if the right word would be motivation, but just what we can personally do to make us better as professionals.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the personal connection is really important with networking. It's more than a phone call, you know, it's being able to see people and their body language. And, you know, the thing that's been great about the networking group is the friendships that I've developed through it. And when all of a sudden I realized we can't meet at Taymana, I was thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to see some of my good friends. So that really drove me to figure out an online solution, and Zoom really seems to work well for that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Chuck.
Well,
anyone else have anything to add to it? Oh, Nate? Or Nick? Yeah, Nick. I think you have to unmute.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't have the abilities. I had to wait for those to come through. You know, one of the things, I jumped on late today because I was coming from a quick drop-off appointment that I had. But one of the things that I've noticed with this group and some other organizations around is, you know, being able to utilize this technology and put it in the forefront, and the technology is really shifting and changing a lot of what we're doing, and you know, being able to have this stuff at our fingertips for so long without ever having to use it. And now that we're forced to use it, it's, you know, positively in fact impacting business on multiple levels, whether it's, you know, networking groups like this, or, you know, I'm in financial services, and that's a face-to-face interface business. all the time. And, you know, we're making drastic adjustments and changes to be able to DocuSign documents that weren't able to be DocuSigned before, and taking into consideration some of these health factors that we are now faced with, and how do we not stop our business from going so that we can continue to help people to put their best financial foot forward every month. And so it's been really powerful to have these tools and to have, you know, these wonderful people around that are thinking outside the box to create products like Zoom, but then also leaders around us, such as, you know, Chuck or Roger, or even other organizations that are putting together these Zoom calls, and organizations to put together networking and communication interface face-to-face through a computer screen.
Thank you, Nick.
Anyone else have any closing thoughts? It seems like we're winding down here a little bit.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to everyone for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and end the call, and we are going to be scheduling another call for next Tuesday. So let's continue with this. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for everyone that came out today.
Thanks, Chuck.
Bye.